Hello. Today we're going to be discussing climate change. My name is Ryan Lee, and I'm going to be focusing on presentation and media.
My name is Zara Brahani. My focus was on legislation in regards to climate change.
My name is Lily Bandy, and I will be focusing on the conflicts of nations dealing with climate change.
My name's Nakia Jones, and my focus was relevant theoretical framework.
And our macro question was, how do political, social, and individual factors influence global efforts to address environmental issues like climate change and deforestation? Would anyone like to start us off?
Yes. I believe, first, to start us off, we should shift the focus to some misconceptions about climate change first.
So I think that one of the most common misconceptions about climate change is people believe that it's just natural. However, the climate has changed naturally in the past. Right now, it's happening much faster because of human activities such as burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial, agriculture, and factories and all of that stuff. So,
yeah, I'm not really sure why people think it's really natural. Because we can go back in history and literally see, like, the Industrial Revolution, how that, like, spread, like, coal, oil, and, like, gas use all across the world, and how, like, new factories and, like, new sources of transportation were being used a lot more because, like, more cars were being developed, and we were just producing a lot more things that needed fuel. So this resulted in, like, massive amounts of like CO2 emissions, which definitely we have seen has affected the climate, and it definitely increased global temperature.
Yeah, there was definitely a spike during the Industrial Revolution. I will say, to their credit, that they're not completely wrong. Climate change can occur naturally, but it's definitely on a much smaller scale. One big natural contributor to climate change actually is volcanoes. Volcanoes actually are able to spread a good amount of emissions into the air, trapping heat by CO2 greenhouse gas effect. So they're not completely wrong, but there's definitely no way just volcanoes can increase it as dramatically as we've seen in the past few decades. Because as Ryan just said earlier, the Industrial Revolution, it's just clear data. As soon as that really hit off, climate change really spiked up really hard.
Also, like, I feel like something that has to do with like people thinking it is natural is a lot due to like media misinformation. I feel like a lot of news reporters can like be very misleading, and like a lot of like headings in the news can be misleading as well. So like current today, like we see these wildfires happening in the West Coast and like the flooding, and people will think that it's just whatever, it's always happens, but this is really due to our increasing effects of climate change. And I feel like the media just has a lot to do with that and framing it like this.
Yeah.
Go
I feel like if it doesn't affect people, then they're not. If it doesn't affect like an individual person who's reading the media, then they're not going to care about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
saying. It's always someone else to them that's getting the effects of quote-unquote climate change, as they would think.
Yeah, but really, like, climate change affects everybody, and everybody needs to pay attention to it because it's like our
world.
Yeah, it's our world.
Yeah.
I feel like some people just don't care though, because they're not going to live long enough to see like us die or whatever, you know?
That's a big problem.
Is that not a good part?
That is a good part.
Oh, okay.
And that's also what kind of gets into with like demagogues and business people who are spreading the misinformation that you just talked about. Like, you can't tell me that that the old people that are like saying this stuff in governments and such don't really know about climate change.
Like misinformation about climate change, there's no way people don't know that like coal and fossil fuels and stuff like that is bad for the environment. The people that are at the very top of these fossil fuel using industries. But like, of course,
I'll let you keep going.
If they
Sorry.
keep spreading misinformation, people keep using it, then they keep making money. So obviously they would do that to keep making money because, I mean, they're probably like already old, doesn't matter to them really.
Yeah, I think money's a big factor because like we see with like Trump right now, he just like
I was literally just thinking about it.
yeah. He has like a new relationship with like Putin and everything in Russia, and they're actually, in my research I found, they're trying to promote like things using fossil fuels, so it's like only downhill from here, and that really makes me think about like how much also like our political leaders like play into like climate change mitigation and everything.
Okay, yeah, so relaying off what Ryan said, when one country's adaptation policies, or lack of them, affects another people or resources, you tend to get cross-border stress. And what this is it basically refers to environmental pressures like air pollution, migration, and other disasters that cause regional instability. They don't stop at that border. So then that, leads to all these nations having conflicts with each other.
Like, sorry to interrupt, but like going back to your other point, could you like just elaborate a little bit more on cross-border stress and like what that really means?
Yeah, so like say we're in Maryland and we have Virginia as a border.
Yeah.
We could share water, water resources, like say a river flows through Maryland and Virginia, or there's air pollution that is in the sky from Virginia to Maryland. Virginia could blame us for the air pollution and vice versa, and that causes conflicts between the two states.
Okay. And that would like lead to like us not being able to work as efficiently because like nations don't want to work together to like fix this problem.
Yeah, it's basically like a blame game.
Okay, sounds good.
To kind of piggyback off of Lily, if we were to take that down to the more like individual level and federal level rather than like a global level, a lot of people don't feel the need to like speak up about climate change simply because they see it as such a large issue and they don't think they can do anything, so they kind of push it off to like the federal government. And since their main focus is more based on like the economic policies and continuing to like increase consumerism to keep making money, there's no change from either point of view.
Yeah, and I agree on that. We all need to like come together as a society and fix it. And it's not just one person's job to fix climate change, it's everybody's.
Yeah, because like the big problem is it's always like someone else's responsibility. It's always the big people. It's always the them who's supposed to fix whatever issue. It's not even just climate change. It's an issue with all issues. Because like, for example, like, think if you're like driving in your car, like, and you see a homeless person like begging on the street, and I can promise you, because this is what I do too, what you're gonna do is you're gonna like look away. You're gonna try to not look at that person begging for money, because on the one hand you feel bad for them, but on the other hand, you don't want to give your money. You don't want to put the effort in.
Yeah, it's like not your problem.
Yeah, it's not your problem. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look away for as long as you can, and then the light turns green. You're gonna speed off.
You're flooring it.
You're gonna floor it, yeah. You don't wanna recognize the issue. And because it's easier to deal with big problems like this by not doing that. Exactly, not doing that. It's easier to ignore a problem than to actually recognize that it exists, because that means everything's still fine. Everything's still good. There are no problems in the world if you just don't look at them.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's like a generational thing. Like, I feel like a lot of older people tend to be like, oh, like, it's nothing. It's like, I'm not gonna, like, worry about it. But, I feel like the younger generation, I feel like the more they, like, push themselves out into the world, the more they feel like the need to speak up for things. Especially when it comes to, like, political issues. People are more worried about, like, getting that change, but they're more fighting for the change rather than like doing something about it, if that makes sense. Like, they're not taking action, they're just kind of like demanding somebody else to do the action that they should be doing.
It's a lot of like proving yourself right without actually doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing that you can see from everywhere.
In my research though, like there are like shines of light of people doing this. Like in China, there's like multiple scientists who are trying to like cooperate with the U.S. actually on various projects, such as the IPCC, which was introduced fairly early, but I think is becoming more relevant now with the climate change effects just increasingly getting worse. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. It's not completely hopeless because there's actually one really big proof that it's actually kind of amazing. I don't know if you guys heard about it. A few years ago, there was the discovery of a hole in the ozone layer.
Oh yeah.
I think
Well, you guys all know about it? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it posed a big threat, because it would have been like, it would have let ultraviolet radiation onto the Earth's surface, which I don't know if you guys, it like really messes up life in general.
Yeah, but didn't during COVID that started to close up because the
we weren't like feeding into it anymore.
Yeah, the decrease of people not going out of their house, not using not driving in cars and stuff like that. I think there was a decrease in that.
There was.
Yeah.
And it was due in large part to it was only 2 years after the whole discovery. Never before seen 46 different countries. 46. You'll never see this type of peace ever again. They signed the Montreal Protocol, and it was genuine work to reverse the damage, because this was like something that would have harmed everyone. And nothing gets people moving than a common threat.
Yeah, but like the damage is like not reversible though, right? Because like I thought like if the ozone, like if there's a hole in it, you can't really like patch it back up. You can only do stuff to like
Prevent
decrease.
It's not completely
exactly.
reversible, but it is able to be mitigated. Reversible wasn't the right word.
I kind of feel like people in general kind of like push climate change to like the side because they kind of feel like it's not ever going to get better. Like we're at this point of no return, so like why try to stop something where it's like it's already so bad that you can't do anything to completely reverse it, even though it's been a thing for so long.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the Montreal Protocol proves false, because it proves there is hope for change. There is hope for things to get better, I feel, in my opinion.
Yeah, and as we just get more traction from the media, we just need to like push for more application so more people can start knowing, because I feel like it's also not that big of a problem because not everybody necessarily knows about it. So definitely need to spread knowledge. Yeah. But like people like Mr. Beast actually are spreading lots of knowledge. Obviously he has a lot of followers and he has a big platform, and with his tree project where he's planting a lot of trees, he's actually promoting the environment, which is really good because a lot of people who are watching his YouTube can spread this information as well. And also it is just also raising awareness about how deforestation is like not necessarily a good thing. So
And similar to people like Mr. Beast, when people feel the need to take action, I can kind of tie in the biophilia hypothesis, which is basically the like evolutionary bond that humans have to nature, where they kind of feel the need to protect it, like protect the earth itself because it provides for them. It kind of and in like the large scale of things, or like the bigger picture, there's kind of like a decline in that connection, because I feel as like consumerism grows and like there is more of like a connection to technology, people stop going outside, so people stop caring about the issues that are there when they like leave their house. They go to school, they go to work, and they come back home, and that's really it. They don't care to see anything out of their like daily schedule.
That kind of ties into what we were talking about before, about how it's not real if I don't see it. It's someone else's issue to deal with. It's kind of just this level of apathy, detachment, really. Detachment was a really big theme on what you were saying there. Completely cutting yourself off from the problem, cutting yourself off from responsibility, accountability, even with basic things just like recycling or turning off the lights.
Do you guys feel like political ideologies play a part in kind of like pushing things aside, like climate change or deforestation?
Definitely. Misinformation and disinformation about climate change is 100% in the interest of the people who make money off of climate change.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just keeps going back to money. Money is a really big motivator for science denial of this kind. And so, I forgot what I was talking about. What?
But like, to kind of like piggyback off of like how money is so important. Like in some of my research, I found that like a lot of higher ups will promote like issues that do not seem as important. So when it comes to like making economic policies or any policy in general within our government, people are more focused on like the smaller things or like the more like stupid things so they make the policy based on that. So it's like, well, people are more worried about what star is making this money and what their taxes are rather than like looking at, oh, is it 30 degrees when it's supposed to be 50 degrees? People are kind of like not just paying attention to more important things, so it leaves our policymakers to like, I don't know how to explain it, but like please them because they're
Pander
feeding
to
it
their
into
interests.
them. Yeah, even though they're controlling their interests through like the mass like media consumption.
Okay, well, I want to worry about this issue maybe, but my people are worried about this issue, so I guess I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, and that plays into like political identity. It often influences how people interpret scientific information about climate change. This is especially seen in the U.S. Climate change has become politicized, where, you know, the acceptance or denial of climate science, it aligns with political affiliation rather than scientific evidence. Like she was saying, when you see a person on social media who has one opinion over climate change, you know, who has a million of followers, you're going to be more inclined to follow their beliefs because you see that they have a million followers and you think that their opinion is better than yours, and so you change yours to
Worth more.
yeah, you change yours to align with theirs, even if it goes against scientific evidence about climate change.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help that our president is saying that climate change is like a hoax. That like people who are who are like working to like mitigate it. It's just he's calling it like a con job. Like it doesn't even really matter. So yeah, that definitely doesn't help either because all his like voters and followers are just gonna think the same thing and not pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because global warming is harmful to everyone. And so by default, it shouldn't be a polarizing issue at all. It hurts everyone, so we gotta put a stop to it. But it's big by people who are able to take advantage of it. Politicians, people at the top of fossil fuel industries, people of that nature, they're able to take advantage of it. So now there are people on the team for climate change. It's not exactly on the team for climate change. They're not hoping that the world gets destroyed by heat,
Yeah.
but they are hoping to make money off that. And so now there are teams and there are people fighting against us.
And like yeah, once again, like going back to like media, like the people fighting against us, I feel like they're just not knowledgeable enough. Like the media just misleads them and like gives them a false kind of vision of what climate change is and like what impacts it necessarily has on us. So yeah.
They definitely undermine a lot of the side effects, the detriments of climate change. I say detriments like there's any positives. There's no positives.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of just ties into like the economic policies and the political ideologies that really impact not even just the country but the earth itself.
Yeah, definitely an important part that we need to remember is how the conflict between different nations and how we need to realize that this is a worldwide problem and not just an individual nation problem.
This is all of our problem.
Yeah, this is all of our problem. It's not sectionalized. It's not any of that. It's everybody's problem.
So it's for all of us to deal with.
Yeah, I love all the points y'all brought to the table. And
Yeah, I do too.
And that's our podcast. Yeah.
That's our podcast, folks. Bye bye. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.